All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining our 30-minute presentation on how to get more direct bookings at your hotel by focusing on your website copy. In this presentation, you're going to get 19 ways to strengthen your website copy so that it's working as hard as it can, so that you're getting people's attention, you're getting them to lean in, you're striking a conversation, and you're forming a relationship, because that's what it takes to get direct bookings, right? So in this, I'm going to walk you through about 11 of them that our hospitality copywriting team has put together, and then I'm also going to give you a download for our 8-step optimization checklist. You can just go down this, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I also have an executive summary of the points I'm going to cover here down in the description underneath this video. So hope it's useful for you. But before we get started, I'm going to give you an interview that I did with Brian Tracy just a few months ago on the topic of copywriting and how important it is for the sales process. So please take a look at this. This will be about 2.5 minutes, and then I'll be right back. Okay, talk to you soon.
Hello, I'm Brian Tracy, and welcome to the Brian Tracy Show. We're here today with Jeremiah Mone, who is one of the most talented copywriters in the world today. What people don't realize is that almost all of our economy, hundreds, millions, billions, trillions of dollars, are based on selling something to someone. It's taking somebody and persuading them to buy something that they would not have bought in the absence of your persuasion. And it's always words. One of the things that Jeremiah and I talk about from the beginning is copy is persuasion on paper. It's selling on paper. It's persuading people to take a course of action that they wouldn't have taken. And sometimes a good copy line, a good piece of advertising on paper can increase sales of a product or service by 5 or 10 times. And it's astonishing. Most of the stuff that we read, you look at this and say, what on earth is the message they're trying to convey? What are they trying to persuade us of? And I see companies like IBM and Citibank and some of the biggest companies in the world, and their stuff is terrible because it's so, there's no specific call to action. There's no specific benefit that they are offering. There's nothing that will cause a person to really stand up and say, I want that. And yet they spend jillions of dollars and advertise in the biggest publications in the world. Anyway, so I love copywriting.
Excellent.
And I'm very happy to see you.
Very nice to meet you, Brian.
So tell us a little bit about you and what you do and how you've gotten into it. You've got 18 copywriters who work in the hotel industry to generate immediate action and sales rather than perhaps buying someday. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you do and how you do it.
Yeah. Well, we work to help hotels get more direct bookings because that's what it is all about at the end of the day.
Yes.
A lot of the hotels right now, they're kind of under control of third parties.
Yes.
Like Booking.com and Expedia.
Yes.
They're controlling 60 to 70% of their business.
Really?
Yeah, with 25% commissions. So
wow.
To push back, hotels are realizing they need to create their own direct marketing channels.
Yes.
And so we're working to turn the hospitality industry into a direct response industry.
Wow.
Because direct response is direct bookings, right?
Yes. And they're much less expensive. At direct billing, you don't have to pay commissions and residuals and everything else. So mm-hmm. that's really, really important. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as Brian was saying, it's all about how well you're able to engage people, how well you're able to capture their interest, capture their imagination, get them to lean in, and help them make their booking decision without a good fundamental argument that why you're better than other places and why they should book direct. Well, then you're missing a lot of opportunities for business. So let's look at the 19 ways that you can strengthen your website copy so you're not doing that. First of all, I say we need to stop fueling the OTAs. Here's what I mean by that. If your website copy is not as strong as it could be, and you're spending money on pay-per-click, you're spending money on retargeting, or what have you, people are coming to your website, they're saying, oh, okay, this is pretty good. I bet I can get it cheaper elsewhere. And then they go onto the OTAs, they go onto metasearch, etc. And they do, right? A lot of hotels have problems with perfect rate parity. So even $5 can lose the business for you. And even if the rate parity is good, well, they're already there, right? They've left the store, they don't have anything in their hands, they found it someplace else, and if this is the same, there's no true reason to come back to your store to complete their purchase. So the billboard effect is good. People come off the OTAs, they find you, that's really good. But if they are leaving without understanding that you have a SEER, USP, unique selling proposition, for example, a better service offering or a better price, etc., then they're going other places. So in that case, you spent money on the pay-per-click, you spent money on retargeting, and then you spent money on the OTA commissions. That's not fair. So let's make sure your website's working as best as it possibly can, because really your website is your most valuable marketing asset. It's the place that you have all the control. You don't have any competitors, and you have a ton of media opportunities to get them leaning in, to get them thinking about you, to forward a link to their husband or wife and say, hey, honey, how about this? That's where it all comes down to the line. So to do that, our copywriter, Lisa Berger, says that you need to eliminate your first paragraph. I really couldn't agree with this one more. How many times have you gone to a hotel's website and you saw it say something like, welcome to the Adirondack Hotel. We were founded in blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And right there, people say, oh, you're boring me. You're just giving me a description. And just like reading the dictionary, people aren't going to do it, right? They're going to start skimming for what's really important to them, and you've lost the complete opportunity to start telling a story, to show them a pain point and how you relieve it better than any of your competitors. So eliminate your first paragraph so it doesn't sound like the beginning of a Math 101 course, and start getting people into a story. Start showing them who you are. This is a really, really critical point. So please look at your websites and see if it's boring in the first paragraph. If so, just cut it. Second, Holly Morris says that you need to get really, really specific on your audience. This one, I think, is the bullseye. Without knowing exactly who you're speaking to, well, that's just like walking into a bar and announcing, hey, any girl here is fine with me. I'm just looking for a girlfriend. Right? How well do you think that message is going to go across? It's not. It actually just sends the signal that, hey, this is not essential, it's not important, I can look at this later if I want. What's next? People will ignore you in just a second. We've done eye tracking surveys in the copywriting industry, and we see that people are amazing at ignoring advertisements. So if you're just saying that, hey, this is for everybody, people register you as an advertisement and you're easily ignored. So really get specific on your audience and say, hey, ski bums, you got to check this out. Hey, families with 2 or more kids, when you come here, your kid's going to want to run off that energy. Here's the perfect park. These are the kid-friendly dining options that you got to check out. Really make sure that the message is for them specifically. The riches are in the niches, like we like to say. Do not say that you are good for everybody. That means you're good for nobody. Next, engage visitors in a conversation. That starts with your first paragraph, and that's why we don't want to sound boring in the beginning. We actually want to make sure we know who we're talking to, and then talk to that. Like I was just saying, if you are talking to ski bums, show them all the cool things, all the local insights that they might not find elsewhere. If you're talking to parents, show them pictures of the parks and show them all the stuff that they can do in the area. Make sure it's a conversation so that when somebody says, yeah, this is me, well, they can kind of go down that path. That's important because your website is not a brochure. It should be a portal of discovery. Next, continue that conversation with email. When the parents go down that path, they get to a landing page. It has lots of cool information for kids. There should also be a place where they can give you their email address, and that goes directly to a autoresponder series that caters to their interests, to their needs. I mean, it's not easy taking a vacation. There's tons of things to plan. What's the best route? What's the best time? How's the traffic? Where are the good stops? What should we do around there? There's a lot of things. So Lynn says that if somebody opts into this, make sure that an email says, hey, are you traveling with little kids? Do you need to know how to get a crib at a hotel? Well, click this link. Here's how you do that. And then they go there. So it really serves as a concierge of sorts so that you are speaking directly to their needs, wants, and desires. Right? Makes sense? Next, Kimberly Whitecamp says to use pictures of benefits, not just of features. This one is my big pet peeve. How many times have you seen a hotel's website that really just has pictures of an empty room and an empty dining room and an empty foyer and an empty pool? Wow, that's spooky. Is it an IKEA catalog? What are you selling here? People are in for the experience. They're in for the benefits. Like, how does that benefit me? If we're not showing pictures of the benefits, of people enjoying the benefits, then actually we're pushing the auspice of imagination onto our readers. We're saying, hey, here's a blank canvas, you make it up. And we're giving away all of our control. We're giving away all of our chance to sell them on what's great in your area. This is a huge mistake. So talk to your staff. Talk to them and say, hey, what do people enjoy most? Let's get pictures of that. Let's make sure it's on our website so that we are selling the experience. If Airbnb has taught us anything, it's that people are in for a unique experience. That's what they're interested in. So show them that your hotel has the great prices, great service offerings, and great experiences waiting for them to enjoy. All very, very important. Now I'm going to speed up a little bit. We have 19 to cover here. I say use testimonials that tell stories. Everybody looks on TripAdvisor at their hotel and they pull reviews and pull reviews that say they had great staff and great rooms and great food and great service. Well, that's great. But the problem is it's not. Because if everybody says the same thing, it's so easily ignored. And that's not what people are looking for. They're looking for something unique that catches their attention, that catches their imagination. So look for stories that say something like, my wife and I came there for our anniversary. I was really, really pleasantly surprised that you left a bouquet of roses in our bedroom without even me asking, just because you were being thoughtful. My wife was really blown away, and it really set the stage for a great stay. That right there shows so much about the hotel. You don't have to say our staff is kind and attentive if you just show it with this kind of story. And it's better to have somebody else say it than you say it. So really look for those testimonials that tell stories and make sure they're right up front so people can see them. Next, offer extra bonus perks. People can find a better price elsewhere. Let's admit it. There are a lot of third parties that will actually cut into their commissions just so they can undercut your price, even if you put it up as an honest price parity offer. So use bonus perks, things that people can't get elsewhere, such as airport transfer, such as spa packages, such as discounts at your cafe, bar, restaurant. These things show people that when they book direct, there's something else in it for me besides saving $5, right? If they book direct, maybe they save $5, but they also save $20 on the airport transfer, and they get a free welcome drink, and this and that. All these things show people that once they come to your website, they really shouldn't leave. You know, they might look around for a second, but then, hey, you know, what do you want? This or this? I'd rather have something that's better, right? So use extra bonus perks. You know, wave it around in front of their noses. I really recommend that. Also, use authority. If you have mentions in your local newspaper, if you sponsor the local kids baseball team, if you've been mentioned in the New York Times for being a green leader in your area, put that out there. If stars have stayed at your hotel, if you've been if you've been featured in National Geographic for your area, whatever it is, make sure that people see that, because that adds so much to the perceived value. One really good hotel I can mention that does this well is the Sunset Marquis, right? It's a rockers hotel in Los Angeles, and they have a rock star image just because of all the cool rockers that have been there. Use that. Put it right up front. That's really good on social media. And then when somebody sees that, well, it helps you beat out your competition. Next, tell prospective guests what they stand to miss. This is really a copywriting thing, a direct response thing. Direct response does not work without a special limited time offer, right? It's got to have bonuses. It's got to be specific. So think about packages that you can create that are only for people arriving on Tuesdays, only for people with kids, only for business travelers that want to add an extra day to make it a bleisure trip. Whatever it is, make sure that the word only is right up front and center. Because without that, people say, well, I can find it elsewhere. No, you can only find this here, and if you click away, you're gonna lose the link. You're not gonna know where it is. So it's gonna be a hassle if you try to find it again. Why not click now, check it out, and move forward. So tell people what they stand to miss. If you're not doing that, then you're not targeting people. And that kind of goes back to the difference between hunting and gathering. Okay, let me explain myself for just a second. Hunting and gathering. There's two ways to do sales. Okay, hunting is targeting your market and saying, hey, this is for you. Gathering is standing behind a counter and waiting for orders to come to you. That's fine when it's in season, but when it's the middle of winter and there's no berries on the bushes or the economy is slowed down, then you got to be a hunter. You got to know how to find your target and make sure that you catch their attention. So do show them what they stand to miss, and also give them more than one reason to take action. This goes a little bit to your activities pages. You want to make sure that when somebody sees your activities page, it's not just A, B, C, D, E. Excuse me. It's not just a list of things in the area. It's actual dimensionalized pictures of people enjoying things, making beautiful moments, memories, and showing people that staying here, well, you can go out and do all these things. This really is the hub of activity, so this is the hotel to choose. Give people more than one reason to take action, because you never know what pushes somebody's buttons. So push a bunch. Next, I want you to dazzle readers with benefits. I went to a hotel, a 4 Points up in Ventura last week with my wife, and they had a pool, beautiful clover pool, really big, really, really nice. And this is on their website. It's on their landing page. The slider shows the pool, and that's great. But how many pools have you gone into where it was cold, right? It's not very appetizing to go to a hotel and jump in on a cold day, and it's cold. This pool was like 85 degrees. But they didn't mention this on their website. They're spending thousands of dollars every month to heat this pool, and it was 85 degrees, but they didn't mention it. That's a big miss. So you need to dazzle readers with benefits. Hey, if we go to this hotel, the pool is like 85 degrees. You can jump in the early morning when the sun's just coming up, or you can stay out late and your kids can splash and they can fall asleep, and everybody can be really well rested, relaxed, get some exercise. Make sure that when you look at your website, you kind of say, yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's nice. That's fun. That's interesting. You should see that when you look at your own website. If not, re-examine this, because that's what sells. People want to be dazzled. So make sure you're doing that. Then maintain the same voice throughout. Just like you would sit down at a bar and talk with a friend, and you would maintain the same voice throughout, you would never just start listing things, right? You never just, coffee maker, towel service. You would never just start listing the amenities in a room. Unfortunately, so many hotels do this in their rooms pages. So that's good on a utilitarian sense, but in the way that we want to paint a picture and tell business travelers, hey, I understand that you're rushed in the morning. That's why we put Keurig coffee makers, so that you can be in and out in a second. Use the features. Hey, I understand that you're tired after a long day, so the 85-degree pool will be a great way to relax. And then you can jump over the bar, and there's this covered jacuzzi. You're going to love it. Use features to sell the benefits to people by keeping the same voice throughout. Next, use a PS. The reason I say this is because people have a tendency when they go to a website, you start at the top, right? And then you go to the bottom, and then you go back to the top and decide if you want to read it. Well, we know in copywriting that the headline's the first thing that gets read. The PS is the thing that kind of sells them to keep reading, right? If you go from a headline that's this big and to the body text that's really small, and if the headline didn't catch them, well, they're not going to start reading something that looks boring, looks like a big block of text. So the PS is a really good way to catch their interest and to say that, hey, yeah, there is really something in this for you to read. There's a benefit to you. The reason to use a PS goes back to a rule called the 3-30-3-30 rule. And this states that when somebody first looks at something, they give it about 3 seconds to decide whether it's interesting to them or not, whether it's relevant or not. Does it have a pool or not? That's all I was looking for, so that's my 3-second scan. If you pass the 3 seconds, they say, hey, I'll give you 30 seconds to kind of do more of a skim and get the lay of the land and kind of see. I'm going to map everything out and see if this is useful to me now that I've kind of said that this is something that I'm interested in. If they give you 30 seconds and they get past that 30-second mark and they're still skimming and getting the lay of the land, well, it stands to reason that they will then give you 3 minutes of their time to really start reading through things, to start reading through paragraphs, those block paragraphs that you had, and get into the story, right? They started to lean back. They're not so antsy. So at that point, you want to say, hey, now I'm going to tell you a good story, a quality story that makes the benefits dazzle, that shows that we're starting a conversation, and shows that you can lean in. You can give me your email address, and I can continue the conversation in other ways. So there's that 3-minute mark. If people pass that 3-minute mark, they've essentially judged that you're valuable enough for 30 minutes of their time. That means that you are really on the top of their hotel consideration set. And that's where you want to be, right? So using the PS as a way to get people past that first 30 seconds, so that then you can get them past that first 3 minutes and into the 30-minute bucket is a really, really nice approach. Now, I have to admit, my mouth is getting a little dry talking so much. So I'm gonna give you a download right below this video where you can look at numbers 19 through 20, and you can actually just go down the checklist and say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and just see that you're hitting all the marks. This is what I use when I optimize a hotel's website for conversions, and it's really easy. Simply put, this will help you optimize your website for guest experience first. All right, that's the 90% of this picture, and then features second. Hey, this talks about us and about what we have to offer, but really make sure it's a portal of discovery, so that when somebody looks at something, they can say, yeah, this is for me. So I also have an article that outlines all these points on Hospitality Net, and it's called 19 Ways to Strengthen Your Hotel's Website Copy, just the same as this. So look at that. And if you need any help doing this, the hospitality copywriting team is all trained in the AWAI copywriting method. This is the method that Agora Published used to launch over 15 newsletter services and top almost $1 billion in revenue in 2016. So it works, it gets people opted in, it gets people leaning into your story, and we will help you do that. So thanks for listening to my presentation on 19 ways to strengthen your hotel's website copy. Now, why not 20? Right? Why not make it a nice even number? Because taking action should not be advice. It should be obvious, right? If you roll up to that first date and your car is dirty on the outside and it's got some junk on the floor, it's not going to be very impressive, is it? And it's not going to show that this is a unique selling proposition. In fact, you can get a better price elsewhere, or maybe even a better stay at another property. That's not what you want. So step 20 is up to you, but I really say take action today, because it is the center. It is the most central piece of your marketing mix. So start sharpening your tools and stop wasting money on pay-per-click. If you want more information, go to moredirectbooking.com, and looking forward to talking with you there. Hope you're having a great day. Bye now.